Today is August the 28th. Today we see the exiles who returned. Reading through the Bible in a year today, I'd like you to read 1 Chronicles chapters 7 through 9. Now we begin with more genealogies. Chapters 7 and 8 goes into the genealogy of the different tribes that were there. And we're left, we really don't know where those tribes came from. The northern tribes were taken captive in exile. These could be remnants, people who stayed behind. They could be returns, people who made their way back to Israel from the exile. We really don't know. But in chapter 9, we're told about the exiles who returned from Babylon. Primarily, chapter 9 focuses on the priests, the Levitical clan that comes back. Even mentioning at the end of chapter 9, King Saul's family tree. That is probably because Chronicles doesn't speak at all about the reign of King Saul. Remember that Chronicles is probably written after the return from the exile. And the purpose of Chronicles is to show, first of all, the kingly line through Judah, and secondly, the importance of the temple and the priests. Enjoy today as you read 1 Chronicles 7 to 9. 1 Chronicles 7 to 9, New Living Translation, 1 Chronicles 7. The four sons of Issachar were Tola, Pua, Jashub, and Shimron. The sons of Tola were Uzi, Rephaiah, Jeriel, Jammai, Ibsam, and Shemuel. Each of them was a leader of an ancestral clan. At the time of King David, the total number of mighty warriors listed in the records of these clans was 22,600. The son of Uzi was Izrahiah. The sons of Izrahiah were Michael, Obadiah, Joel, and Ishiah. These five became the leaders of clans. All of them had many wives and many sons, so the total number of men available for military service among the descendants was 36,000. The total number of mighty warriors from all the clans of the tribe of Issachar was 87,000. All of them were listed in their genealogical records. Three of Benjamin's sons were Bela, Becher, and Jediael. The five sons of Becca were Ezbon, Uzi, Uziel, Jeremoth, and Eri. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. The total number of mighty warriors from these clans was 22,034, as listed in their genealogical records. The sons of Becher were Zemirah, Joash, Eleazar, Elionai, Omri, Jeremoth, Abijah, Anathoth, and Elameth. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. The total number of mighty warriors and leaders from these clans was 20,200, as listed in their genealogical records. The son of Jediael was Bilhan. The sons of Bilhan were Jeush, Benjamin, Ehud, Kenanah, Zenath, Tarshish, and Ahishahar. Each of them was the leader of an ancestral clan. From these clans, the total number of mighty warriors ready for war was 17,200. The sons of were Shupim and Hupim. Hushim was the son of Aher. The sons of Naphtali were Jazil, Guni, Jezer, and Shillem. They were all descendants of Jacob's concubine Bilhah. The descendants of Manasseh through his Aramean concubine included Israel. She also bore Machir, the father of Gilead. Machir found wives for Hupim and Shupim. Machir had a sister named Makkah. One of his descendants was Zelophehad, who had only daughters. Machir's wife, Makkah, gave birth to a son, whom she named Peresh. The son's name was Sheresh. The sons of Peresh were Ulam and Rakim. The sons of Ulam was Bedan. All these were considered Gileadites, descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh. Machir's sister, Hamoleketh, gave birth to Ishad, Abiezer, and Mala. The sons of Shemida were Ahian, Shechem, Likhi, and Aniam. The descendants of Ephraim were Shuthelah, Bered, Tahath, Eliadah, Tahath, Jabad, Shuthelah, Ezer, and Eliad. These two were killed trying to steal livestock from the local farmers near Gath. Their father Ephraim mourned for them a long time, and his relatives came to comfort him. Afterward, Ephraim slept with his wife, and she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. Ephraim named him Beriah because of the tragedy his family had suffered. He had a daughter named Shirah. She built the towns on Lower and Upper Beth-horon and Uzan Shirah. The descendants of Ephraim included Repha, Resheph, Telah, Tahan, Ladan, Amihud, Elishama, Nun, and Joshua. The descendants of Ephraim lived in the territory that included Bethel and its surrounding towns to the south, Naran to the east, Gezer and its village to the west, Shechem and its surrounding villages to the north, as far as Ayah and its towns. Along the border of Manasseh were the towns of Bashan, Tanakh, Megiddo, Dor, and their surrounding villages. The descendants of Joseph, son of Israel, lived in these towns. The sons of Asher were Imnah, Ishva, Ishvi, and Beriah. They had a sister named Serah. The sons of Beriah were Heber and Malkiel, the father of Birzaith. The sons of Heber were Japhlet, Shomer, and Hotham. They had a sister named Shua. The sons of Japhlet were Pasach, Bimhal, and Ashvath. The sons of Shomer were Ahi, Roga, Huba, and Aram. The sons of his brother Helim were Zophah, Imnah, Shelesh, and Amal. The sons of Zophah were Suah, Harnefer, Shual, Beri, Imrah, Bezer, Hod, Shammah, Shilshah, Ithran, and Berah. The sons of Jether were Jephuneh, Pispa, and Ara. The sons of Ulah were Ara, Haniel, and Rizia. Each of these descendants of Asher was the head of an ancestral clan. They were all select men, mighty warriors, and outstanding leaders. The total number of men available for military service was 26,000, as listed in their genealogical record. 1 Chronicles 8. Benjamin's first son was Bela. The second was Ashbel. The third was Ahara. The fourth was Noha, and the fifth was Rapha. The sons of Bela were Adar, Gera, Abihud, Abishua, Naaman, Ahoa, Gera, Sherfufan, and Huram. The sons of Ehud, leaders of the clans living at Geba, were exiled to Manahath. Ehud's sons were Naaman, Ahijah, and Gera. Gera, who led them into exile, was the father of Uzzah and Ahihud. After Shaharaim divorced his wives, Hushim and Bara, he had children in the land of Moab. His wife Hodesh gave birth to Jobab, Zibiah, Mesha, and Malcham, Jeuz, Sakiah, and Mirma. These sons all became the leaders of clans. Shaharaim's wife, Hushim, had already given birth to Abitub and Elpaal. The sons of Elpaal were Eber, Misham, Shemed, who built the towns of Ono and Lod and their nearby villages, Beriah and Shema. They were the leaders of the clans living in Aijalon, and they drove out the inhabitants of Gath. Achio, Shashak, Jeremoth, Zebediah, Arad, Eder, Michael, Ishpa, and Joha were the sons of Beriah. Zebediah, Meshullam, Hizki, Heber, Ishmerai, Isliah, and Jobab were the sons of Elpaal. Jakin, Zikri, Zabdi, Elianai, Zilithai, Eliel, Adaiah, Beriah, and Shimrath were the sons of Shimei. Ishpan, Eber, Eliel, Abdon, Zikri, Hanan, Hananiah, Elam, Anathothijah, Ifdeah, and Penuel were the sons of Shashak. Shamsherai, Shehariah, Athaliah, Jareshiah, Elijah, and Zikri were the sons of Jeroham. These were the leaders of the ancestral clans. They were listed in their genealogical records, and they all lived in Jerusalem. Jael, the father of Gibeon, lived in the town of Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his oldest son was named Abdon. Jael's other sons were Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Kedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth, who was the father of Shemeam. All these families lived near each other in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish. Kish was the father of Saul. Saul was the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan was the father of Meribaal. Meribaal was the father of Micah. Micah was the father of Pithon, Melech, Tareah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jada. Jada was the father of Alameth, Azmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Binea. Binea was the father of Rephaiah. Rephaiah was the father of Eleasah. Eleasah was the father of Azel. Azel had 6 sons: Azrikam, Bokeru, Ishmael, Sheriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Azel's brother Eshek had 3 sons. The first was Ulam, the second was Jeush, the third was Eliphelet. Ulam's sons were almighty warriors and expert archers. They had many sons and grandsons, 150 in all. All these were descendants of Benjamin. 1 Chronicles 9. So all Israel was listed in the genealogical records of the book of the kings of Israel. The people of Judah were exiled to Babylon because they were unfaithful to the Lord. The first of the exiles to return to their property in their former towns were priests, Levites, temple servants, and other Israelites. Some of the people from the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, Ephraim, and Manasseh came and settled in Jerusalem. One family that returned was that of Uthai, son of Amihud, son of Omri, son of Imri, son of Bani, a descendant of Perez, son of Judah. Others returned from the Shilonite clan, including Asaiah the oldest and his sons. From the Zerahite clan, Jeuel returned with his relatives. In all, 690 families from the tribe of Judah returned. From the tribe of Benjamin came Salu, son of Meshullam, son of Hodaviah, son of Hasenua, Ibneah, son of Jeroham, Elah, son of Uzi, son of Mikri, and Meshullam, son of Shephatiah, son of Ruel, son of Ibnijah. These men were all leaders of clans, and they were listed in the genealogical records. In all, 956 families from the tribe of Benjamin returned. Among the priests who returned were Jediah, Jehoiarib, Jakin, Azariah, son of Hilkiah, son of Meshullam, son of Zadok, son of Meraioth, son of Ahitub. Azariah was the chief officer of the house of God. Other returning priests were Adiah, son of Jeroham, son of Pashur, son of Malchijah, and Masi, son of Adiel, son of Jazerah, son of Meshullam, son of Meshilemith, son of Immer. In all, 1,760 priests returned. They were heads of clans and very able men. They were responsible for ministering at the house of God. The Levites who returned were Shemaiah, son of Hashub, son of Azrikam, son of Hashabiah, a descendant of Merari, Bakbakar, Heresh, Galal, Mathaniah, son of Micah, son of Zikri, son of Asaph, Obadiah, son of Shemaiah, son of Galal, son of Jeduthun, and Berechiah, son of Asa, son of Elkanah, who lived in the area of Netophah. The gatekeepers who returned were Shallum, Akub, Talmon, Ahiman, and their relatives. Shallum was the chief gatekeeper. Prior to this time, they were responsible for the king's gate on the east side. These men served as gatekeepers for the camps of the Levites. Shallum was the son of Korah, a descendant of Abiasaph from the clan of Korah. He and his relatives, the Korahites, were responsible for guarding the entrance to the sanctuary, just as their ancestors had guarded the tabernacle in the camp of the Lord. Phinehas, son of Eleazar, had been in charge of the gatekeepers in earlier times, and the Lord had been with him. Later, Zechariah, son of Meshelemiah, was responsible for guarding the entrance to the tabernacle. In all, there were 212 gatekeepers in those days. They were listed according to their genealogies and their villages. David and Samuel the seer had appointed their ancestors because they were reliable men. These gatekeepers and their descendants, by their divisions, were responsible for guarding the entrance to the house of the Lord when that house was a tent. The gatekeepers were stationed on all four sides, east, west, north, and south. Their relatives in the villages came regularly to share their duties for 7-day periods. The four chief gatekeepers, all Levites, were trusted officials, for they're responsible for the rooms and treasuries at the house of God. They would spend the night around the house of God, since it was their duty to guard it and to open the gates every morning. Some of the gatekeepers were assigned to care for the various articles used in worship. They checked them in and out to avoid any loss. Others were responsible for the furnishings, the items in the sanctuary, and the supplies, such as choice flour, wine, olive oil, frankincense, and spices. But it was the priest who blended the spices. Mattathiah, a Levite and the oldest son of Shallum the Korahite, was entrusted with baking the bread used in the offerings. Some members of the clan of Kohath were in charge of preparing the bread to be set on the table each Sabbath day. The musicians, all prominent Levites, lived at the temple. They were exempt from other responsibilities, since they were on duty at all hours. All these men lived in Jerusalem. They were heads of Levite families and were listed as prominent leaders in their genealogical records. Jael, the father of Gibeon, lived in the town of Gibeon. His wife's name was Maacah, and his oldest son was named Abdon. Jael's other sons were Zur, Kish, Baal, Ner, Nadab, Gedor, Ahio, Zechariah, and Mikloth. Mikloth was the father of Shimeam. All these families lived near each other in Jerusalem. Ner was the father of Kish. Kish was the father of Saul. Saul was the father of Jonathan, Malchishua, Abinadab, and Eshbaal. Jonathan was the father of Meribaal. Meribaal was the father of Micah. The sons of Micah were Python, Melech, Tareah, and Ahaz. Ahaz was the father of Jada. Jada was the father of Alemeth, Azmaveth, and Zimri. Zimri was the father of Moza. Moza was the father of Binea. Binea's son was Rephaiah. Rephaiah's son was Eleasah. Eleasah's son was Azel. Azel had 6 sons, whose names were Azrikam, Bokeru, Ishmael, Sheriah, Obadiah, and Hanan. These were the sons of Azel. Like, follow, and subscribe to this devotional on whatever platform you use to listen to it. Email your questions to us at questions@becomehope.com. Tomorrow, we see the start of David's reign.